Hi everybody, I'm Barb Steinberg, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine this morning that made me, when I had the conversation with her, she's actually a therapist, and she said, you should really share this on a video. So I thought, why not share it on a video? We were talking about her son, who is an adolescent, a teenager, and his father has a disability, and that is at times challenging for him, in grieving what he had with his dad when his dad had more mobility and what it's like now. And thinking about, he can remember all those times when his dad was more agile and more mobile and what his dad is like now, and that there's grief and sadness and maybe even sometimes discomfort or embarrassment around that. And so I said to her, this is not comparing apples to apples by any means, but I think it's similar in terms of thinking. Obviously, she doesn't want her teenager to be sad or upset or embarrassed or in grief and to hold on to that. That was my thinking. Of course, there's a time and a place for grieving and being upset and sad that something is not the way you want it to be. Of course. Experiencing those feelings and having them is very important. And there comes a time when we get to choose, do I want to continue to hold on to those negative emotions and thoughts and live my life in a place of pain and grief? Or do I want to be able to let go of some of that and move on from it? So I was using the example of when I was an adolescent, when I was a teenager. When I was 18, my senior year of high school, on Christmas Eve morning, my dad died of lung cancer. And I was saying to her, now let me just preface this by saying, I certainly had my fair share of grieving over my dad's death. And I certainly had a lot of work around that with therapists and friends and family. So I experienced those feelings. I worked through those feelings. Now, that's not to say that I don't ever miss him. And that's not to say that her son won't ever have a thought, I wish that things were different. But I said, I have a choice. I can focus on every moment since I was 18 that I didn't have with my dad. And he wasn't here, for the graduation of high school and for my senior prom and graduation from college and grad school and wedding and children and on and on. So many moments from 18 until now. I could focus on that. And how do I feel when I take those thoughts and I think those thoughts? How am I feeling? Sad, upset, grieving, angry. It's not fair. So I could do that if I wanted to. Or I could focus on, I had 18 years with him. I had 18 great years. Some moments not so great because I was a teenager and he was a colonel in the Army. So we had a lot of great moments, and I have a lot of great memories with him. And I'm so grateful that I had 18 years. Some kids have 6 months or 5 years. I had 18. So when I was saying this to her, I said, I have a choice. I can either choose to feel bad or I can choose to feel good. And it's my thoughts that lead me down the path of where I'm going to feel. And this is a tool that I talk about with the teen girls that I coach all the time, and I share with the parents that I coach as well. If we want ourselves to feel better, which is important when we're parenting adolescents, and they have such a roller coaster of emotions, and it's really important to teach our girls if we want them to feel better. How do I feel better? A lot of us don't even know. And a lot of us have no idea that what we're thinking actually impacts what we're feeling. And so often, I'll give you another example. When my mom, right after my brother died, and I was in a lot of pain, my mom, I was explaining to her and sharing with her what I felt. And she asked a brilliant question. She said, "What are you thinking?" And I started to share with her all the thoughts I had about his death. And as I'm saying them out loud, I'm realizing, well, of course I feel horrible. Of course I am stuck in this grief and this pain because I keep thinking thoughts that cause pain. So a lot of times with the girls that I work with, we talk about, what are you thinking? And I'm teaching them, when you're feeling a feeling that doesn't feel good, ask yourself, what am I thinking? And that thought gives you so much great information about why you're feeling the way that you feel in this moment. And it allows you to choose a better feeling thought or a different thought, right? So, every time her teenager, feels badly about his dad not being as mobile as he used to be, maybe he does remember a time when his dad was, and it makes him smile and it fills his heart to remember, wow, I'm so lucky that I got to go hiking with my dad. That was awesome. And now I'm so lucky that I get to watch my very favorite TV show with my dad. That's awesome too. So notice it doesn't take away the reality of the situation, but it helps our teens to be able to manage when life isn't necessarily what they want it to be. Their reality is not what they want, because likely it will change and become what they want. And in the meantime, in the journey from where it is now, when you're not happy and it's not the way you want it to be, and the journey to get to this point of where you do want it to be, how am I going to feel on the journey? Am I going to feel angry and upset and unhappy until I get what I want? What a way to live, right? That sounds kind of like a big fat drag. And it sounds like those are some long days, right? So it's a tool that our kids and our teens can use to help themselves to feel better. Where do I want to put my attention? What do I want to focus on? Hopefully this has been helpful. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.